Hello everybody and welcome back to the West Ham Network. Anton here giving you my opinion on the 𝗪𝗪𝗢𝗧 situation. You know, I'm reflecting on that whole situation from the weekend and I'm thinking like what's my take on it and what would I do in that circumstances? And I think the first thing I want to discuss is, you know, I, I feel like there's a clear mental health issue here and we cannot dismiss that just because he's a footballer and he earns a shed load of money. But he's clearly got issues there, and that's something we as a club and we as fans need to back and be mindful of, because it's so easy these days to go on the attack and always think the worst in a situation rather than sometimes thinking the best in a situation. But every single one of you, and you all know that when you hear of a situation when someone is feeling down or feeling bad, we all want to rally together and check in on that person. And I can't help but feel when I watch back the Paquetá situation that that's exactly what happens. And that's what really lets Jared Bowen down and the rest of the West Ham team down, because none of them stepped up to remove Paquetá from the situation. And as you can see from the image attached here, the only person stepping forward really was Alisson, his teammate from Brazil, and rightly so. You know, he's trying to manage his situation, and we've all been there, done that, wore the t-shirt. When anger and your emotions step in, it sometimes becomes uncontrollable, and that is what happened with Lucas Paquetá. Now, going back to the game itself, he receives a yellow card for doing that to the ref, and the ref clearly took that as offence. To me, that's not a yellow card. And I don't know what the rule book says when a player does that in terms of dissent. So Paquetá is more than inclined and more entitled to ask, why did I get a yellow card? I don't disagree with him in asking for that. In actual fact, because of the situation and because of the yellow cards that have been given his way, and because of all the trauma that he's been put through over the last couple of years, to get a yellow card like that for absolutely nothing, I think I kind of understand his anger and dismay at that decision. And then he goes over, and this is where he fails. This is where he fails, because no matter what happens, you can't keep pushing and pressing and pushing and pressing the way he did, to the level he did. But I've got to take into consideration everything that's happened to him, and that is possibly why he acted that way. And he's speaking out quite publicly on social media, saying, I'm struggling and I've had no support from any federation at all. And I do think that is disgraceful, and they need to take that on the chin. Yes, it's crap, and yes, he's learned his lesson, and yes, he said sorry to all the fans, and yes, he said sorry to the teammates, or etc, etc. And I think we do need to park that situation and move on from it. It's not ideal, and I'm hearing people, and I'm seeing people in our chat, I'm seeing people on social media saying they're done with him, especially on the day that we lost our hero, Billy Bonds. And I'm aware of that, but I'm telling you now, anyone in their right mind would not wish mental health issues upon anyone. And just because you earn, and you are a multimillionaire and you earn the money you earn, it doesn't mean that you're null and void to that situation. So I feel like we should tread carefully with the situation, before we judge a book by its cover on the fact that he did get sent off. Moving forward with the Paquetá situation, what would I do? I would look at moving him on now. I would, to be honest with you, because the last 2 years is clearly impacting him. And I really think the best move for him would be going back to Brazil, to be in amongst his family, his friends, his peers, and he would probably flourish on home territory. And, you know, it's probably the best of every single world if he does go back to Brazil, because West Ham could generate some income for the window. And I don't want to say goodbye in this way to Paquetá, but we can't afford luxury players right now. And that's to the detriment of our owners, to the detriment of the way West Ham's been run, that we're now talking about getting rid of our best players because we can't afford luxury players and we need players to go and fight that relegation battle. And Paquetá's not that player. So I feel like we need to take the hit, get the money in, and with respect, thank him for his time at the club and try and move on and try and build something. But again, under this ownership, I'm not sure that can happen. But I think the time now is for Paquetá to go. I think we need to generate as much income as we possibly can, invest that money wisely. Whether we do, I don't know, because we've not got the history of doing it. And, you know, wish him all the best for the future. But I just think we need to be really mindful of the situation. And they don't have a shield. They don't have a shield. Who's got a shield? Who is protected from the mental health pandemic that's out there? Because it is out there and it is affecting people. Clearly is affecting people, and people can't handle certain situations, let alone the fact he's gone through 2 years of not actually realising 100% will he ever be able to play football again? Will he be able to provide for his family again? So just feel like we need to be a little bit more mindful on the situation. But again, like I've said, moving forward, I'm very open to West Ham looking at a move for him, because I do feel like against Manchester United, depending on how we line up, and against Brighton, again, depending on how we line up, will all depend on the you know, the output, the return of investment. And the question I asked you is, what return of investment have we had with Paquetá in the team right now? So losing Paquetá, what return of investment would that bring to West Ham at the moment? Put it in the comments. Let me know your thoughts. Hit the subscribe button, hit the thumbs up, and of course, come on, you irons.